The Democrat Mikie Sherrill claiming victory, fending off a spirited campaign from Republican Jack Ciattarelli.
Mark Meredith joins us live now from East Rutherford, a city not familiar with victory all too often, with the latest. Hey, Mark.
Oh, Todd, Carly, good morning to you. Todd, I didn't see that one coming. That was pretty good. New Jersey Democrats had a big night last night. As you mentioned, Congresswoman Mikie Sherrill becoming the new governor-elect of New Jersey in a race that many consider to be a bellwether ahead of next November's midterm elections. The latest results, as the train comes in, people going to work, show that Sherrill was able to easily defeat former Assemblyman Jack Ciattarelli. It's notable Hudson and Passaic counties, two counties with larger Hispanic populations, which trended towards the president last cycle, shifted back to Democrats this cycle. Sherrill will become the second female governor of New Jersey. She spent a lot of time talking about cost of living issues, but also urged voters to make this a referendum on the White House. Her victory speech focusing heavily on the policies coming out of Washington.
As the president is backing away from this ideal, cutting SNAP, ripping away health care, terminating Gateway, we here in New Jersey are bound to fight for a different future for our children. We see how clearly important liberty is. We know that no one in our great state is safe when our neighbors are targeted. But prosperity is equally essential. Liberty alone is not enough if the government makes it impossible for you to feed your family, to get a good education, or to get a good job. So in this country, that shouldn't be too much to ask. But right now, all of it seems at risk. Governors have never mattered more.
Overnight, Ciattarelli spoke to his supporters in Bridgewater. He says he called Sherrill to congratulate her on her victory. This was his third time running for governor. His loss last night was by a much larger margin than we saw only 4 years ago. Sherrill will be sworn in as governor early next year in January, but she's still a sitting member of Congress, which means there's going to be a special election to fill her House seat. And already, Todd and Carly, it looks like there will be a number of people trying to get that job. Todd and Carly?
Mark Meredith live from East Rutherford, home of the Jets and the Giants for us this morning.
That's the lack of victory comment.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, joke explained.
But Mark's a winner, as is Katie Zacharia, the Republican political strategist and senior advisor for Fix California. Katie, every 4 years, political pundits all over love to say, you know, these elections in Virginia and New Jersey are a bellwether for the midterms. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think right now what we're seeing is a whole messaging of just anti-Trump across the board. And on this affordability issue, Todd, are these Democrats realizing that the last 4 years were under Joe Biden and President Trump is just in office? And at the end of his first term, affordability was great. People were buying homes, prices were down, gas was down, eggs were down all across the board. So this issue is really a holdover from Joe Biden, but the uninformed electorate who just voted in Prop 50 banks on the anti-Trump sentiment, the Trump derangement syndrome. So honestly, I don't think it's a bellwether truly for the midterms to come. I just think these are not that popular of elections to get out for, and a lot of Republicans aren't motivated to go vote.
Yeah, and but Katie, these are big victories here in New Jersey and Virginia, and unlike the polling suggested, this wasn't even close. And one note that Republicans will likely be focusing on, this is from the Wall Street Journal, pointing out that Democratic support among Hispanic voters increased by 9 points in New Jersey, 5 points in Virginia, and that young vote, that youth vote, shifted dramatically back towards the Democratic Party. So Republicans still have time. We have a year to go until the midterm elections. How should they go about fixing this?
Yes, and a lot, as to your point, Carly, a lot of people are saying, well, people weren't going out and voting because President Trump was not on the ballot. Well, in 2026, here's the issue. President Trump is ostensibly on the ballot. What that means is if we do not preserve the House, if we do not save the House in 26, there will be impeachment attempts all through the last 2 years of his presidency. And we do not want to see this go into ineffectiveness. We don't want to see it go into lame duck because he has so much momentum right now. So I think what Republicans have to do is they need to get motivated to turn out to vote. Here in California, right? We lost on Prop 50. 4 million Democrats, 2.8 million Republicans, and 6 million Republicans voted in President Trump, Carly, in 2024. So if all of those Republicans had turned out to vote in this election on Prop 50, it would have been the Democrats would have been wiped out on Prop 50. So I think it's really, how do you get Republicans off the sideline in these not so exciting elections?
Well, let's talk a little bit more about Prop 50. For those that don't know, this was the ballot measure that basically said, okay, Texas, we're going to see your 5 Republican sort of basically seats added, and we're going to do the same with what amounts to 5 probable Democrat seats. Gavin Newsom may have won the battle here, Katie, but did he win the war in terms of overall numbers of likely Democrat seats in next year's midterms? Because when I do the math, I see states like Missouri, I see states like North Carolina, where when you get the net number, Republicans are still going to have more. What about you?
I see the same thing, Todd. Republicans need to start getting aggressive on this. And Gavin Newsom, again, I go back to this uninformed electorate. He's banking on this anti-Trump sentiment when the Texas redistricting was in response to a Joe Biden DOJ lawsuit in Texas on their census. And yet this partisan gerrymandering, this power grab by Gavin Newsom has the electorate excited to just get Trump. Well, here we are in California. 40% of the Republicans are now going to be left with almost zero representation in the entire state of California if this redistricting goes through. So at the end of the day, we're going to look at hopefully some lawsuits on Prop 50. There was a lot of irregularities. There's a lot of issues going on. There's obviously no voter ID in California, which I think allowed a lot of illegal immigrants to probably vote, is what we're hearing. The press secretary talked about that yesterday, Todd. So we'll see what happens. Gavin Newsom's always going after a power grab, and it's usually manufactured on some form of lie. He's become a very comfortable liar.
I'm going to make a prediction here.
Yes.
Now that Prop 50 is passed, write this down.
I'm ready.
Nancy Pelosi is not going to run for re-election. She will endorse and campaign Gavin Newsom, who's going to run in 2028 against a J.D. Vance Marco Rubio ticket.
Wow.
So we're going not even 1 year from now. We're going 3 years.
Mark the tape, Zacharia.
Katie, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your insight as always.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.